I don't represent any company except myself here. I worked for different companies in the past. The longest was at Sun Microsystems, and now I'm doing consulting in the area of test automation. I would like to share a framework that I developed and I open sourced it. And this framework is more like an umbrella on top of any other framework or tests that you might write. For example, I use it with Selenium quite a lot, and here I have an example of that. Basically, I don't have a name for this framework, but it's hosted at the GitHub, and later I'll show you where exactly. It's a harness or framework or test monitor. There are many names that basically mean the same thing. It's a tool that allows you to start your tests. You basically need to have a tool that knows how to find your tests, how to execute them, how to properly understand whether your tests passed or failed, and then create reports. That's the purpose of a typical test monitor. These are the features of this particular test monitor. It knows how to execute test cases. It knows how to prepare HTML human-readable reports. It also knows how to prepare XML JUnit style report for the consumption by continuous integration server. You can configure multiple options in there, and including the place where you would like to store your reports. You can print test descriptions of all your test cases that it finds. You can also execute tests based on keywords, which is very important functionality, not often found with different frameworks. You can specify negative keywords as well. You can have an ability to rerun a failed test once more. This is sometimes needed when you debug your tests and when your product or your application is not stable enough. Obviously, it's not a good practice to have your test run twice if it failed the first time, but sometimes it's needed and it could be useful. Basically, the framework idea is to be platform agnostic, so you could develop tests in different languages for different platforms. I have used this framework to run tests on hardware devices using proprietary tools. I've used this framework to run Selenium tests using Ruby driver on Unix systems as well as Windows systems. And also I use this to run Java tests written in Java. Finally, you can extend this framework by writing by overriding basically a method called validate. And this method by default returns true for every test that it finds, but you can extend it and make your own method validate to skip certain tests. You can use different criteria for that, depends on your situation, but you can do that. And such tests will be excluded from execution and shown on your for example, your continuous integration dashboard will show as skipped, which is useful. This is an example of a test case that I will demo in a minute here. Basically, it's a Google search test. That's what the test looks like. All the hard working code is being hidden into a macro, which is called Google search macro. This is what the test case looks like, simply. But here I'd like to pay attention to the comments. They are Javadoc style comments, and that's how the framework knows how to find your tests. In particular, it searches for these tags and it parses them and it finds your test. And the keywords is important to identify which test you'd like to run. This is the location of this framework for anybody interested to try it and use it. Hyun Kang, who's spoken earlier today, knows this framework. He contributed to it as well, and it was used at Hara at some point. Not sure about present day. So This is a demo that I prepared for today. Basically, it's a Hudson, and I have a Selenium demo job here. I'm going to execute it. It's executing the test case that you just saw in the last slide, or the one to the last. I'll quickly explain what it does, but the main point here, I'd like to demonstrate how easily this framework integrates to continuous integration service such as Hudson. So the test passed, and the job finished. And we can go back to the project. Basically, this is the last job that just finished, and this is the test result. So the information that Hudson received was from the framework. The framework generated the JUnit style report, which was in turn parsed here. So this tool, oh yes, I apologize for jumping from places to places. It's my first time as well to give a talk. I'd like to show you how this job is configured so you can understand how easy it is to basically use this tool. In here, if you can see it, we basically cd to the directory containing our suite. We start remote control, start Selenium remote control, and then execute. This framework is entirely Rake-based. It's written as a Rake file. So you execute this framework, in this case, with a negative keyword to fail. So I would like to exclude the test case that corresponds to the keyword to fail, because I know it fails. And I specified the reports directory where to store the reports. Now, if I change to fail and basically remove any of the keywords here, and basically there are two test cases there, one which is just run and passed, and the other one which will fail. And if I rerun this, you can see that there will be two test cases that will run, and one of them will fail. So the keyword switch is a very flexible tool that you can use to choose which test cases to run. That's really all. And Steve Swanson, I believe your name, or yeah. Yes, you had a very interesting discussion about abstracting code from a test case, and I really admire that, and I use it myself in my practice. I don't like to have heavy code written in a test case. So the example that you saw earlier pretty much conforms to that. The constructor can be removed altogether. It's here just so you can see that you can do custom things in the constructor, but the main method, the run main, is what you are interested in. So the test cases can be really easy to write and clean. So that's other comment I had about this. So this job has failed. We can see that there were two test cases, one passed and one failed. In this test case, I have substituted a result. This is the test case that failed. Basically, I overwrote the result variable to something that will definitely fail, will not exist. And I rerun the same macro, and it failed. So anyways, that's all for my discussion today. Is there any questions? No questions? All right.
Great.
Thank you.